Okay, I think I'm just going to go.
Give me 1 second. Let me enter that, and then I'm ready. Go ahead. You can talk.
Welcome back to the Raised Hunting Podcast. We're back
Whoa,
with
whoa,
another...
whoa. He's not
freaking
doing
whatever.
that. I'm not letting him do the intro. That is out. I'm trying to. So I keep a track of all of the things that I've shot with my bow and arrow.
We've been recording for like 10 minutes.
No, we have not.
Yes, we have.
Anyhow, long story short, I have neglected to put my stuff in there, and now I'm having to go through my phone, find pictures of the stuff that I shot. The last thing that I had entered is the Aoudad. So anyhow, Nick just reminded me that we also killed a really nice Pope and Young bear in Canada. And then I got 8 does I need to add to this sucker. And I was at the Aoudad. I had a turkey that I shot. So anyhow, long story short, we have to have a new page. And then hopefully we are now at the 2-minute warning. Just so that by the time you hear this, they will have blown the whistle. And that will be game. Either the deer will have won or I will have won. And right now, the deer are winning by this is like a blowout.
A little bit.
However,
that before you go forward, I think there's a lot of people that don't keep track of their harvests.
Yep.
Or they do somehow. I don't know how, but if you guys like, we have a sheet that we are just, I think it's just kind of a family thing. Dad's been doing it since they started building dirt and has tons and tons of, it was like the first time they made paper that he's got this chart that he keeps track of all of his animals he's harvested. And we have carried that on. Warren and I both have our own little things, which is what you guys saw in my last binder when we were scoring Big Joe. But if you guys like that or you're looking for something similar to that, comment on our next or on this podcast, and I'll find a way to. It shouldn't be very hard. I could make like a PDF and put it on the website where you guys could just download the sheet and print it off, so you guys could keep track of your stuff too. It's pretty cool to be able to look back, especially like I'm younger and I can even look back at 10, 15 years ago. Some of the first things I had shot and stuff. Dad's older, and he can look back 30, 40 years back at everything that he has harvested and things.
The first one that I have entered here is BC. So,
and we're not talking Canada.
I'm kidding. The first entry, though, is 12/17 of 1978.
Holy cow.
And that was, I killed a button buck.
When you're, what were you, only 10?
10.
Yeah.
Yep, my uncle left me sitting by myself. And
Nice.
I was sitting against a tree, and he came walking up the creek. I was sitting on my coat because I was cold, and I was sitting on the ground. And I had 12 gauge buckshot. And I'm leaning against a tree, and all of a sudden I see a deer. I'm like, holy cow. And he's creeping along like he doesn't, I don't know if he knew I was there or not. But anyhow, I grabbed the shotgun real quick, and boom, and he took off running, and I boom. I mean, I was slinging lead all over him. And he ran about 50 yards, and I saw him tip over. And,
that'll do it.
Oh, boy. You're talking about a 10-year-old kid freaking jumping up and down in the woods. And
what shotgun was that with?
870.
Is that your
12
pops?
gauge, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's why I killed it. Look at it.
Boy.
870, all the way down.
Yeah, we're pretty big 870 believers.
Yeah. My
Yeah,
first buck that had a rack was with the 870. The bow comes into play starting in first bow kill, 85.
20, 21, or no, not 18?
23.
23. Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right. So anyways, yeah, leave a comment below if you guys want me to do that, because I don't have it on the website, but I can make it a downloadable thing. It's got the date, where you shot it, what species it was, what weapon you shot it with, score if you keep track of score. Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. So anyways.
No, hold on, I'm wrong. Sorry. I was wrong. 85. So I was 17 when I shot my first doe.
Yeah, I was going to say the math wasn't math.
However, I don't count that as I have it written in here as my first bow kill, but it was just dumb luck. I mean, the deer was walking by at 45 yards, and I shot it and hit it and killed it. And then the next day I went right back and had a buck walk underneath me at 7 yards or 8 yards, stand broadside, and I completely missed. I missed him by like 2 feet.
You'll have that.
No, back then I had no clue what I was doing. I have the next one says first real bow kill. where I was actually, and that was 1988. So I was 20 when I killed, and that was a doe. And I shot her with my bow, and I carried my tree stand in, I hunted over this little water hole and everything. It was cool as shit. Yeah, those were the good old, and you talk about excited about a deer, and it was a doe.
All right, so it is officially December 1st. We've hit December.
We have.
And this year is medium, I would say, year. I always judge what the year is based on the amount of days we have in Iowa for the season in the early part of December. Sometimes you only get December 1st and 2nd. Sometimes you get like December 7th. This year, I believe it is December 5th, right? Friday. Yeah.
Yes.
So December 5th,
Friday's the last day of bow season.
So you got 5 days to get her going. That's a medium amount of time compared to your December 1st and 2nd, which is only 1 or 2 days. So,
like I said, I'm comparing mine to a football game.
Yeah.
And so, like, October was the first half, November's second half, and then we got to last week, and we were in the fourth quarter. And now we are, after Thanksgiving, because you only have about 8 days left, we're now at the 2-minute drill.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So,
which is where the greats are made, apparently.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we're about to find out. Well, before we get into that, real quick, because we're going to get into that, I'll do. We've missed comments for the past 2 weeks, so I'll go. I don't think I'm going to read all of them, but shout out to Vega. Oh, this is on Spotify. We got a lot of Spotify comments. Shout out to Vega. Congrats on the buck. I appreciate it. Willie. Congrats, Easton, on a giant. That's absolutely amazing. God bless you guys. Love the podcast. Appreciate it, Willie. Hunter Eisenbath. Congratulations, Easton. I had a similar circumstances. Happened to be about 2 weeks ago. Shot my first buck on my newly purchased property this year. Nice. That is pretty freaking cool, dude. Congratulations.
Been there, done that, and I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
That is, it could be, doesn't have to be a big one, and it feels like a big one.
Shout out to Wyatt Myers. Congrats on an absolute giant, Easton. I had a similar situation with my buck this year. Standing out in a food plot and about 25 yards. I had my single pin set at 20, forgot to move it. When I shot, I immediately knew it was low and middle body. Yeah, well, if you do have the same situation, Wyatt, give it 3 years. He might go missing for a year, but when he shows back up, he's going to be a big shooter. Griffin Reinhardt, congrats, Easton. Also making fun of David. You apparently hit a 6-7 in that podcast, which he doesn't even know what that is. Did he do that? Because that would be freaking hilarious. I want to go back and watch that.
What are you talking about?
He says at 52-51, David hits the 6-7. Yeah.
What?
You haven't heard about like all the kids nowadays? It'd be like 6-7. You've heard me and Warren do it, making fun of the kids. Like 6-7.
I have no clue what you're talking about, though.
It doesn't make sense, but it's fun to say. Oh, yeah, it is.
I know, but what is he referring to?
I guess we're going to have to go back and look. This is on the one where he scored Big Joe, 52-51. We need to go look. Eric Robards, congrats on the buck, Easton. What a stud. Thank you very much. Quentin Spack, way to go.
Spock,
yeah, I'm friends with him, and I still screw it up. Brian Sheffield, congrats, Easton. Appreciate you guys. Keep up the comments. We do have to ask you guys, though, because Spotify – oh, now I'm playing our own podcast. Oops. Spotify yells at us, says that we're supposed to be asking more to subscribe. If you listen to our podcast, to click the follow button, click the notification button. That helps us rank a little bit better to get to other people that are listening to similar podcasts. We don't make anything off of Spotify at all, but that does help our viewership go up. So we'd appreciate that very much. And if you're in the South, we do have scents available. And right now, the scrapes are starting to get lit up in the South. I've got buddies sending me videos, and it looks like our late September or early October right there, right in that time.
Right in the heart of it down there. Just getting going.
Yep, he's been putting a couple scents out on 2 different scrapes and spots. He's like, oh, I don't really have any bucks here, so we'll see. And the same night, he's got videos of bucks hitting them.
The crazy thing is and it's not crazy, but I mean, if you have the spot to sit religiously, like ours just would have been ruined here in the last 2 days because we just got a foot of snow. So a scrape is non-existent. However, I've seen them pawed out.
I've got a scrape that's in a spot where it's near where I shot that deer, and it normally doesn't unless the weather gets bad, is when the deer get into that. It's a whole bunch of cedars and stuff. And I haven't had very many deer on that. When the snow hit, I've had all kinds of deer and multiple bucks with a foot of snow coming and smacking the scrape. And that's like, I'm like, what? Why wait now?
Right.
But,
well, the reason I say that is because we just had a buddy of ours that he didn't shoot it, but another friend of his just killed a buck that he'd been chasing since early October, I believe. And I think we got the text today. So yesterday he shot it.
Yeah.
Coming to a scrape. Coming to he had, I'm not sure which of our scents he had. He said he loaned him some of his. I don't know which ones it was, but he came to the hemp rope.
Heck yeah.
And he shot it. So that's cool. All right. Well, welcome back to the Raised Hunting Podcast, you guys. We appreciate you. We are going to be talking a little bit about this latter part of hunting and what are you guys doing? So Warren has done an excellent job of putting out memes throughout the year of how people are feeling. I don't think Warren would be quite so jovial and joking if he were sitting here right now. And the only reason he's not is because he's in a tree right now, strapped his ass in where he can't get out. Because, I mean, he does not want to be in the tree, but he wants to be in the tree. So anyhow, no, I don't think he's actually sitting right now, but he's going to go this
trying
afternoon.
to get some work done because he's been
so you
hunting
have
so
clear
much.
head, yeah.
Yes.
So anyhow, I think, but like I said, so what you caught us doing was keeping track of the things that we do shoot and going back and look, because it has created some. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's also it has created some. I would say OnX has kind of taken over for me now because it's more relative. You could make this as extensive as you wanted and see if there's some kind of cycles or some type of familiarity that comes back year after year, you know, like time of year and things like that. The thing for me is I've lived in 4 states, so a lot of it is not as easily done like that. But it's kind of funny. I just looked up here and saw this here. And because
your fork and horn?
That fork and horn. That right there is my first buck with a bow.
I think it counts as a spike. I don't think that point.
Oh no, that is a
inch.
fork and horn. That is a fork and horn. I've been telling that story for 30 years, so that is a fork and horn.
That is such an old style.
You want to hear something really funny?
What?
I killed that deer because of scents.
Yeah.
Not our scents. We didn't have them
Clearly.
35 years ago. But he stepped on tinks.
Yeah.
I had it in a 35 millimeter canister. I would put a cotton ball in there, and I took a hole punch and punched holes all in the can. And that's how and then I didn't have to touch anything. I just popped the lid off and dripped some of it in there. And I had a string coming out, and I'd tie it off. Well, before I got to the string part, I just had the canisters, and I'd lay the canisters all around my stand. And then it would just be, the air would let it come out. And so the little cotton thing sometimes would, when I laid it out, might fall out of the thing, and it fell out. I saw that one fall out, and I was like, I don't have time. I need to get up my tree stand. Back then I was doing what you guys, a saddling basically, but it was called a climber. And so I climb up the tree, I get up there, and this doe comes charging down the hill, and the buck is right on her. And I've never killed a buck with my bow, and I am super jacked. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a buck. Well, as he kind of led up a little bit, and he was just following her now, and then she stepped on the canister. When she stepped on the canister, he freaked. He now is like hitting her with his antlers and stuff like that, and trying to knock her down and chasing her all around the tree, and which enabled me to end up getting a shot at him as he came around the tree.
Heck yeah.
So we were just commenting that Easton made a comment, and he's not wrong. I know what he meant, and he didn't mean it the way it's going to sound. He made the comment to me that this has probably been the worst season you've had in a long, maybe ever. And it's not. It's not even close. And the reason it's not close is because all you guys that are hunting back east and hunting public ground, or hunting down south and hunting public ground, I don't want to say they were bad years, but as far as being successful and being able to do what we do now, and like chasing the quality of deer I enjoy the chase, the game, the chess match so much. And I couldn't do that there. back there, it was so much of life was dictated by other people that I had no control over.
Stop.
Legend, stop. We have an annoying dog today. And so anyhow, I wouldn't trade. I would take this year and not kill a thing, because I've passed some good deer. I've passed a lot of deer, but I also have not had the opportunity. I mean, I just flat out have not had the shot at a buck like what I'm looking for all season. I have not. Let's see, Boomerang, I did not get the full draw, right? I did not draw.
No, it was
Same
too dark.
So I've had 2 incidents where 2 different bucks, both shooters, were 2 to 3 minutes too late. And then Nick and I had a mature deer walk by us, and my bow was hanging on the rope at the bottom of the tree at 10:30 in the morning.
What deer was that?
We don't have a name for that deer. He's an older 8. I'm 90% sure that if I had seen him coming, because when I looked up, when Nick goes, oh crap, and then I look up, and there he is standing there, 25, 30 yards. He has no clue we're there. He didn't see me drop my bow or anything. He's just walking by, and I immediately went mature deer. You know, he had the scarred, and he was just huge, but I didn't. But I'm looking at him, and I go, I don't know that deer. Well, it wasn't until after the fact Warren sent me a photo of him last year. He was bigger last year.
Is it not the one antlered deer we have right now?
No.
Oh.
No, this is just a heavy 8.
Yeah, I just knew he was an 8. I didn't know what his other side looked like.
No, this was not there. This was down at the farm where me and him just went yesterday.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so my point is, those are the 3. I think that's the only 3 mature deer that all 3 of those were within shooting distance. We've seen some other deer that were shooters that we just, the one antler deer. So there's a one antler deer out I'm trying to kill. And the main reason he's a bully. And then he runs around. There's another buck on that same farm that's a bully. And we've seen him once is all. I've only seen him once, yeah. So we've seen some other, and then I did see another really good deer the first Thanksgiving morning. Yeah. And I don't know who that was. It was I looked through the trail cam photos and I cannot find this buck. I don't have him.
Yeah, Warren's has been a tease.
Oh yeah, Warren's been
close. I actually feel bad because every time we go do something, one of the 2 bucks shows up elsewhere, daylight, and it's like, it's daunting. But so going into this time of year, though, depending on what you're looking for, whether I think looking for a specific deer is a lot different than what you'd be doing looking for a deer or for caliber deer or just a general type of deer.
Well, I think most people are already dealing with gun seasons are in.
Yeah,
by the time this airs, even our gun season will be in at that point. However, let's talk about that last week, before the gun seasons come in. Or let's talk about what's just happened with us, because I was banking on, okay, I'm going to have like the last 10 days or last 8 days. It kind of gets to be like the pre-rut, post-rut.
Mm-hmm.
Like they go back home, they're still doing a little rutting activity. What has happened with us is we have had winter arrived. I mean, we went from, it was 50s, maybe even touching 60 last week, to the other morning when I was sitting there, it was -6 was the wind chill and a foot of snow. And it just like overnight it did that. And so everything, in my opinion, I had to change all my tactics, all my strategies, everything went to food. Because these deer, and you see them when they're coming to the food now, good bucks. We've been watching, there's one, again, just because I haven't killed one doesn't mean that we don't know where there's some really good deer. Double G is a beautiful deer.
He's cool.
But he's not going 100 yards.
No, Warren yesterday, when we saw him yesterday, was quite certain he bedded in the exact same bed as he did the day before.
100%. So I watched him go lay in it.
Yeah.
So the first day we get up there and Warren says, we're sitting in a grizzly blind at the time, and because it's so cold, we got hard-sided blinds, and then we use double bull blinds because yesterday Nick and I put in a double bull blind, but we'd use these blinds when the weather gets cold or when the weather gets to be really tough on a bow hunter. So anyhow, long story short, Warren and I climbed in this grizzly blind that day, and he says, "Do you see that you're laying there?" And I'm like, no. And it's probably 150 yards away into the timber off of the beans that we're sitting over. And finally, I'm like, oh yeah, I see a rack. I see and it was that turkey foot deer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this deer's dead. And he's like, what? I said, the deer I'm looking at its rack is laying like, and it's not moving. It's not been moving for like 5 minutes. And I look again, and I'm like, it's 100% a rack. And he says, that the one I'm looking at has got his head up chewing. I said, we're looking at two different deer. And then I look, and I can't see his rack, but I do make out a deer about 5 yards to the right of this one. So anyhow, those two lay there until dark, and then they get up and they walk into the bean field, and it ends up being double G and that turkey foot. The next day, Warren couldn't go. I went back that morning. Double G's one of the first ones out in the food plot in the morning, and he's out there feeding around. And then I watched him walk over, and I was like, gosh, dang, he's going to go right over. He's going to bed in that same general area. He didn't bed in the same general area. He got in the same bed, facing the same direction, and absolutely was in the exact spot.
Yeah, which is odd.
To me, it's odd.
They normally say that, they might be in the same area. But I also think this is a different time of year compared to when the studies that we've read are referring to during the rut or earlier in the season. I think this time of year, they don't really care. As long as they feel safe in a spot, they're going to keep going to that spot, and they're going to keep going to the food that they're comfortable with. Because, he's only bedding 50 yards from the food. From the food.
But and it's the first time I've ever been to witness to be able to see these deer are wore out.
Yeah.
Because he eats and eats and eats. He stays out there for like an hour, and then he goes over, and when he lays down, he does not lay down with his head up. Yeah. He's laying his head on his side, and he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Which we happened to. Did you post that video, Nick? We caught a buck.
You need to post that. It's freaking funny.
Yeah, we have a buck on trail camera right in the middle of the rut.
In the scrape.
And, I mean, he's full on. Like, you could tell he must have just been chasing. I need a break.
Like, he hit that scrape and he's like, yep, nope, I'm going to stay right here.
Stay right here because someone will come over. Well, sure enough, a button buck walks over and is trying to wake him up. And all I could think of when I saw that, because if you could caption that, I wanted to say, because when Warren was little, I would watch, or I was a firefighter, so I'd work a night, and then I had to go back to work the next night. Well, Karen and I couldn't afford daycare, or we didn't want to spend the money on daycare, so I would stay up. So I would work all night, stay up, go to work next. Sometimes I would beg when Warren was 2 or 3 years old. I'm like, okay, dude, let me just get a 30-minute nap here, right? We'd put one of two movies in, either Lion King or the Toy Story. And I could quote not Lion King, but I could quote Toy Story word for word the entire movie because we watched it so many times. So I'm laying on the couch, he's watching the thing, and next thing I know is I have a kid come over and he pushes my eyelid up like that. And he says, Dad, this is the good part. And that's what it looked like that button buck was saying. Hey, man, you're missing it. You need to get up. She's right behind me. My mom is right here.
He's jacked up. I don't think he'd be pawning his mom off.
It was funny. Yeah.
So what I think that strategically wise, this is why we put the amount of time into in the springs, in late summer when we're planting things, that this gives us. I mean, when we plant things like beans or brassicas, those are our two main ones that we're doing for late season. For when you get the snow, when you get the just colder weather. Typically, when colder weather hits, that's when the brassicas start doing good. They do really good even in stuff like this. I mean, when you have snow on the ground, you'll see those deer digging for them. Yep. Which is your turnips and radishes and everything. And then beans, just having standing beans is extremely easy for them. And they hammer it. And they don't have to dig for that unless you get like 5 feet of snow. But so that's why we do the amount of work that we do during the spring to help us with that. So that's one way is we have the food. But this is also the first year we genuinely have the food compared to what some of the neighbors with agricultural fields and things like that hunt too, and they leave some stuff in that typically we can't compete.
Yeah, because they can leave 5 or 10 acres or 100 acres. You get, and don't get me wrong, you're going to get that. You could leave all the food in the world, and if the next door neighbor has a storm go through and he can't harvest and he's getting insurance that year and he leaves a 50 acre beans or corn or whatever in there, you're probably not going to suck the deer over.
Yeah.
And that's just an off year.
So that's one way, whether you've done it or whether you have the access to it, whether a farmer that you can hunt or something, you can be hunting food sources, which I'm like I think Warren would probably agree with me. I hate hunting food or fields in just about any time of the year. But this time of year, it's almost a necessity. I mean, you need to be somewhere. If you're not on the food, you need to be somewhere where they're coming to the food.
Right.
And then if you don't have this, then you're really reliant on bedding areas. And in my opinion, that gets very tough because you got to get close to them, very close to them. Then you also end up with them all around you if you do end up close enough to them, which means unless you want to get out and bust deer, if you get in the morning or something like that, this ain't the time of year to want to sit all day because of rutting, but more so because you probably have deer bedded all around you,
right?
Which is really tough.
It would be more of only way I can access is go in this early.
Yep, and wait.
And because Nick and I ran into that numerous times this year where we just didn't get there in time. Matter of fact, there was another incident that a target buck, I don't know, I can't tell you if I'd left 30 minutes earlier, but we were trying to get to a blind. One of those few times when David wasn't going, I could go here, maybe I'll go here. I knew we were going. I told him, let's go. We come marching down. I mean, like, we're going to this blind. And turn the corner, and there's a freaking doe standing in front of it. She doesn't see us, so she's still there, and I tell him we can't. I feel like if we run them off, it's late enough in the afternoon, they won't come back. Because sometimes you can run your deer off of a food plot, and they will come back. If we get there early enough, because we've got some food plots that there's always a deer there.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be fawns there or something like that hanging around, and you have to bump a deer to get in there, even in the afternoon. And so, but because we were late enough, we backed out, didn't go there. Wind screwed us. We got out of the blind early. I said, we're done. I'm not going to sit here and just educate deer because we're not where we need to be. And so we get out, and I walk down to go check the camera that's in front of that other blind. And when I walk down there, one of our target deer is standing 75 yards from that camera across the creek. And he's making a scrape, and he doesn't have a clue that doesn't care in the world, and just having a lollygagging all the time. I pull that card, and him and another one of our target bucks had both walked by 25 minutes before dark.
Yeah.
Plenty of daylight. And when they hit that camera, they're probably 25 yards.
Yeah, that's tough. But so I think we should give some advice on, you have different situations. One situation is whether you're hunting, the good part is if you do hunt public, it depends on the state you're in, but public can be good right now because
absolutely,
a lot of them do plant stuff and leave it.
In Iowa, that is the state does it.
Yeah,
and they do a good job.
It seems to not be necessarily the most convenient areas, but if you can find somewhere where they're not harvesting it, you'll find some standing beans of a big ag field, and that. I mean, this time of year, unless there's 70 dudes that are piling in there, that could be pretty lucrative. And even in that situation, I think that a lot of people are probably either not hunting right now or have filled the tags. So you're down to a lot less hunters probably be out there. So I would not pass that up, even if.
Well, and then you get conditions like what we have here, and then even the guy that's devout might say, "I'm not going today."
Yeah. I know a lot of people that are like, "Yeah, no, I'm tapping out." I'm like, I know it sucks, but this is it. In my opinion, it comes to the point of if you're looking for a specific deer, this just got a heck of a lot easier or impossible. In the meaning
if you can
whatever
find
that
him,
deer is doing, if you're lucky enough to be where he's at, or you can sit back or whatever and see what he's doing, he's probably pretty close all the time and doing it pretty relative each day, which means you're close to him. So it's more predictable. If you're hunting a specific deer and you don't know where he went all of a sudden, or you don't know what food source he's going to, if you can't figure it out, like if you take like a day or something to like back out to see where all the deer are going and he's still not around, you're like, I mean, your odds just plummeted because he's wherever he is at, he's probably not just going to magically show up somewhere else. Right. He's going to be comfortable where he's at, and if you don't have it, you don't have it.
So I think what Easton like in a nutshell, keep this in mind, man, because we'll talk about this again. To kill your deer later in the late season, we're talking after the rut. So that way because it could be all the way up until they're dropping their antlers. Because we haven't had this kind of weather hit like this in several years, this early. But the way to kill a deer in the winter is in the summer or in the spring.
If they stay there throughout
you got to be thinking that far in advance to say, I want to give them a food source if that happens. Worst case scenario is you're still going to have some deer around it, because I also think that they start to crave different things, even if we don't get this crazy temperatures and snow that we've got here. We were already seeing more deer showing up to the food sources.
Yeah.
Because the food sources start to run out. And they start, their metabolism changes. I think, who was it that we talked to? Was it Andy Kiner? Andy, I can't remember. Yeah, but I can't remember one of them. And they were talking about what deer eat and why it changes at different times of the year. And so anyhow, that's what I'm saying is when you do have that, because they're all about easy. If there's an easy food source, they'll take it. They'd much rather have corn or beans that's standing there as opposed to eating the browse off of the cedar trees. But that was the other one. Did you see the deer today driving into work, all tucked up underneath the cedars?
Mm-mm.
I saw several deer.
Well, this is the only time I told Warren yesterday that the more and more I've planted things in cleared fields and things like that, or try to put bedding in certain areas. Most people would probably agree, I hate cedar trees. Hate them with a burning passion. They're useless, except for right now. This is the only time of year and it's pretty relative to this type of weather, meaning we've got a foot of snow within a couple days. There's not many other places for them to get out of the weather, out of the wind, but this type of weather drives them to cedars, because especially if you have some cedars close to a food source, they can bed in that, get out of the weather. It stays a lot warmer for them. They have a clear spot they can bed in because the cedars provide cover for them, and they can walk 10, 15, 20 yards to go to the little field that's right next to them and eat, which throughout the year it's a pain in the butt because cedars don't do you any good. They may bed in it every once in a while, but there's not other food sources there like your browse and grasses and whatever bushes and stuff like that they can eat on. So I hate cedars except for right now, but because it is incredible to see how many of them will come in bed in cedars.
It's kind of, this is what you guys, if you're long time listeners, you've heard me talk about turkeys. When on a rainy day, go drive around looking for them in the fields. They're going to be out in the fields. I don't know why they do it. There's lots of theories. Snow cover, cold, look under your cedars.
Yep.
Take the time. I'm not kidding. I probably saw 10 deer this morning on my way to work. Over several miles, because I kind of went a back way to look. But as soon as I saw the first one, I was like, oh, they're underneath those cedars. There was two of them. And then I went a little farther. There's some more. I'm like, holy cow. So you're absolutely right. When it's like this, and I think for all those reasons you just said, I just think that it creates that snow on those cedars pushes it down and almost like a blanket for them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think if you're still hunting and you're hunting a specific type or specific deer, I'm talking like you're the guy that's targeted a deer, or you've got 3 or 4 or something like that. This is your time that if you can find them. I'm just going to go generally off of the weather we're seeing, because I think most of the Midwest is seeing this.
Oh yeah, it was big.
And so if you have whatever weather and you are still in your season, if you can't find that deer, I would take, if it were me, what I've been telling other people, that take a day. If you're not seeing deer where you've been hunting and you've had all this weather come in or whatever, take a day and you need to go either just drive around if you have the ability to see places, or you need to go sit somewhere where you can see places in an evening and see where the deer are coming out, and try to get somewhere you can see the most possible, because if you can find where most of them are coming to their food source, well, you just found where the majority of them are going to probably do it tomorrow night too. So then you can plan on your wind. The issue is if you don't know where your deer is, or the specific deer that you're chasing, this is where the whole thing comes into play of, are you willing to eat your tag or not, or are you the guy that's willing to settle? And I don't really like settling. Like if I'm going to pick a tag, like last year I ate a tag because I was waiting for the one deer and I knew my chances were tiny. But you're kind of screwed if you can't find them. So take that into consideration. if you do have your deer there, get excited because you just need to be careful and get into a certain spot. I do think it's harder to bust them this time of year as far as for a long ways, like get them to go a long ways. I think that if you bump them or something, they're probably going to be back relatively soon. But as far as for the guy that, let's just say for the guy that is hunting just a caliber of deer, just looking for good deer, I think you have the same concept. But what are you going to do if you don't have the food source?
You're going to have to, you have to, and I'm thinking
or you don't have the ability to get close to the food source. Because most people probably have something close by.
You just got to try to get I'll be honest, if I could go back to where with the David that knows what he knows now in 1978 or 88 or even 98, if I could go back with the knowledge that I have now, I would have abandoned some of the places I was hunting and possibly gone to a public place where the food source was better, because we did get, I remember sometimes when back in Virginia, we got some crazy ice storms. And when you get ice storms, those deer don't have any choice. They have to find a place that they can get through to eat something. I'm talking like an inch of ice.
Yeah.
And so when you would find those spots, it was loaded with deer. Like they all had found that. I don't recall going back there ever, because I was like, oh, that was just a one-time deal. Had I known what I know now, that would have been a jot it down. If the weather gets crappy, be here. Yeah. I mean, I would possibly give up on my spot to go to a whole new spot. I would tell you this, along with what Easton just said, because I think he's 100% right. It's really hard when you got 5 days left to back out and see what you see for a day. You feel like you don't have time to do that. The cell camera guys, you have a huge advantage. If you got cell cameras, you can set them on a couple of these food sources and see what's coming. The other one, if you're going to back out, don't necessarily just back out on your spot. Look and see if they're all in beans, or they all in corn, or is it a mixture of the two? Our deer are on beans right now. I think they'll walk across a cornfield to get to a bean field.
Yeah, it also does help, though, that they're standing beans in multiple places, which I think pretty much trumps it. But typically, like later in the year, I mean, when we're looking shed season, I mean, so we're after the season, it seems like corn is a big one, but I don't know why. But right now I'm a
biologist
bean thing too. I mean, if you can find beans, the other thing is the best part is if you can find a farmer that has a crappy combine or something, or always is super late, they probably left a lot. So you might find deer in that, whether it's beans or corn.
But the other thing is, there's probably a whole lot of people out there that aren't dealing with the extremes like and we've been in that boat. I was looking forward kind of to this because I would treat this like the pre-rut. Just like this gentleman that just sent a picture. That buck was coming right back to the scrape that he had been. I bet if I asked him, because I haven't had a conversation with him, I bet that buck hasn't been to that scrape 2 or 3 times in the last month or the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they just get to chasing does. And then when the does start to run out, he's tired. He gets back home. Obviously, this guy knew where he was, or kind of knew the home range. And now, I mean, it's not the aggression and things like that aren't there that were there in October. But it's still, hey, I just want you guys to know that I'm still here.
This is one of my favorite times to use the rut system, where I've got the Scrape Queen, Scrape Addict, and LHD. It sounds nuts, but like December, it goes freaking wild. And I think that's because it's the same thing I tell a lot of guys. If you're going to use something like a doe in heat, using it before the rut is better. Before and after the rut is better than during the rut, because there's every freaking doe around is probably in heat, or they already have one or whatever, so you may not get the reactions. But after the season, when it's all done and there's only going to be a couple, having a doe in heat, especially on a scrape there's been one there recently, that's when I get the crazy crap where I'll have 8 or 10 bucks or whatever come check a scrape out, even if it's new. But no, I think you got to be close to them right now. You got to be, but if you can't get close to them, you've got very good odds. The other thing I would tell you is this is also a very important time to pay attention to your wind and where the deer are coming from, for sure, but also going to. Because if you are in a spot where you have a higher density of deer and you have the right wind, just because you have the right wind for them to get to you, you better make sure that they can get around and screw around with you. I mean, you got to be very particular on your wind, because the last thing you want is 10, 15 deer or something coming to you, and a couple of them get by you, and then all of a sudden they blow out of the field and they blow the rest of them out too. The only good part is, depending on where it's at, sometimes they might come right back because it's cold, they're hungry, they want food regardless. But I do change up the wind a little bit or hunt a little bit differently based on the wind because of that. Because I know that I'm going to need a lot of them to get into that field in hopes of whatever I'm looking for.
So keep that. That's another one that we'll touch again on this in the spring when we get to food plots and stuff. But those of you guys that are out there putting in your own food plots, make sure that a couple things about the wind with your food plots. One, that you're putting them in a place where you can get in and out of that food plot with the wind not killing you. You don't want to walk downwind of your food plot and your wind blows all through it to get to the other side or whatever. If you can access it with the wind in your favor, that kind of thing. Like Easton said, quartering wind or something like that, it can kill you. You know, you want it blowing technically right in your face.
And hopefully wherever the deer aren't going to come by you. Yeah.
Yep. But in a lot of situations, you're probably not going to be able to get 100%.
No.
Because deer can come, especially as you get into the rut, they can come from any direction. But the majority are going to come from X. And that's what, I mean, like where Nick and I were yesterday. I think northwest is the best wind we can get, but we still got winded by some. I'm not so sure southwest might not be okay too. I would rather them maybe wind me farther down, which that's what would happen, and maybe they don't throw a fit like she did. And I know any of them coming from the field are never going to have any clue that we're sitting there.
Yeah.
So, but that's another tip that I would tell you, and we've done it multiple times. I was hoping yesterday was going to be the day. I've done it with you twice. I don't know how many times I've done it. I have to go back and think. But don't be afraid to throw a ground blind in and get in it. And that's what we did yesterday. We spent some time. We brushed this thing in, but we were sitting right on them. And there was no like timber to hide. We had to just basically cover it the best we could. I'll send a picture to Nick. I took a picture and he put it on this podcast. Because we did get it away from them enough that the first 15 deer that showed up stayed. Now they were looking at it. They're like, I don't recall that being there. And I think what they're seeing is the black opening. We have no choice. I have to have an opening to be able to shoot out of. And so, but it wasn't enough to deter them. They stayed.
Yeah.
And then we probably had, I'm going to say 10 deer that walked under 30 yards. 2 small bucks, the only big buck that showed up, but he didn't avoid the blind. Matter of fact, he never looked at the blind. He was out there farting around with the does. So
that is key, though. If you are going to put one up, it needs to be brushed in properly. And when we talk about properly, probably I would say, I mean, if you're going to focus on anything, focus on the top, meaning the silhouette of the blind. Not as much about just leaning stuff against the bottom or whatever. Getting the top to where it doesn't look like a perfect square outline is key, and using the environment around that, even if it's just grass. That is one thing that's great about the blind that we came out with, the double bull, is that it has the bungee cords and everything around the top, so you can put all kinds of stuff in it, brush it in really, really well. But if you do it right, it can happen. I mean,
you can make one disappear.
2 for 2. I'd never shot a buck or deer out of a blind until freaking Dad did it for me 3 or 4 years ago. He's like, just trust me. And we did that, shot a deer that day, did it next year, shot a deer that day. I mean, it was freaking nuts. But we also took probably 30, 45 minutes on each one of them to get the right stuff around it.
And I felt like Nick and I did as good a job as we could possibly. I knew we couldn't make this one disappear because we just didn't have the backdrop. When we're talking about brushing a blind in, if you put it out in an alfalfa field or in a cut bean field or a cut corn field, brushing it in is not going to get it to disappear. Yeah, it won't look like a blind, but it'll look like a new blob that's there, and they won't know what that is. That's kind of what we were dealing with yesterday. It's not to that extent. We were off the field a little bit. I believe that by tomorrow, life is good because there's so many deer coming to that food source right now that they get in there, they mess around in the nighttime, and then they'll come back during the day because nothing was wrong overnight. You know, and the other thing I don't do with my blinds is when I get out of my blinds, I leave the window open. I don't close it up so that it looks different when we are sitting in it. It looks the same.
Yeah. Yep. So this is the time of year where it is crunch time, but it is also, if you have the deer there, you're in a pretty good spot. Last thing I would add, besides, I mean, you want to focus on food, you want to focus on where they're coming from food. I think that a good tip would be not to necessarily. I mean, if you're the guy that hunts in the timber all the time, which I am that guy,
I would rather be there than where I am.
Yeah, this isn't necessarily the time to be just in the timber as much as all of us would like to be in the timber. So you may need to focus on different areas, especially if you're not used to it. I think the vast majority of people do tend to hunt fields anyways, so you might be in the onions right now, but focus on that and where they're coming from. The only other thing I would say that I did on December 2nd is I rattled a buck in from like 300 yards away, and he was pissed. I mean, and I think it's my favorite time to rattle or to call is before and after the rut. So I think don't be afraid to try something. I mean, if you've got 15, 20 deer around you, I wouldn't recommend it. But in that situation, I had no deer around me, and I could see him 200-300 yards away, and I rattled, and he came right to me, and it was the last day, and I had nothing to lose. So don't get rid of all the tools in your bag. If you get in a situation, you may try it, you may be surprised. So
yeah, same with a grunt call. I mean, just make sure, like I said earlier, I think I was saying that hunt this like it's the pre-rut. I mean, it really is, because I don't care where you live. After this whole first, technically the rut goes on, you're going to have other deer, other does that go into heat, whether they were missed or whether they're fawns that are coming in. But you will see bucks chasing does even when they don't have antlers. And if you can just be lucky enough, because that's the other thing. We can sit here and talk about, the guy that says, I'm just not going to go today because it's crappy weather and I'm tired. And trust me, right now, I'm in that boat. I'm like, okay, we've been doing this because we don't miss many days. We put in a lot of time. However, I would say the old states, you can't kill them sitting on the couch.
You're also to the end. You did all this time and everything else. I mean, why not give it the last 4 days, even if it sucks? I mean, the last 4 or 5 days, you can at least say you died trying.
Because when you really think about it, if you go back and think about every big buck that you've ever killed, and yours is a perfect example, and I wasn't saying this because I thought of yours. Go back, whoever you are out there today, think about the last 5 bucks you've killed. And if you haven't killed 5 bucks, 5 people ask them. I'll bet money most 90% of those bucks, if you took all the people that answered correctly, 90% of those bucks are killed in about a 2-minute to 3-minute encounter.
Yeah.
2 to 3 minute, meaning, oh, there's a deer.
Yep.
Shooter, here he comes. Or, like in your situation, there's a doe. Turn the camera on.
Oh,
holy crap, he's right here.
Yeah.
The buck that I almost killed that was too dark. I mean,
showed right
he's
up.
Here right now. I mean, there was no, and it all depends on where you're sitting and that kind of thing. But even when you're sitting in a place where you think you can see really well, how many times you've been sitting there and all of a sudden snap, or you don't even hear a snap. I think we have a sixth sense too that sometimes you just go,
what was that? Yeah.
How did he get here?
Yeah.
And the one that kills me is elk. Got a freaking 3-foot wide, massive thing, 750 pounds, walking through the trees, and all of a sudden he will show up at 12 yards and you didn't hear him coming.
Yeah.
And so
that could indicate that you might need hearing aids, but
I used to be able to hear really, really good, and I've had it happen. My point is that it could happen on the last day in the last 2-3 minutes.
100%.
That is
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not kidding. The majority of my deer are December 1st through 5th. I mean,
yeah,
with a bow.
And how long have their encounters? I mean, the one you rattled from a long ways away, that would have been a long time.
He did it in 3 minutes. I had 5 minutes left of shooting light, and he got there, and I looked at my phone. I had 2 left. When I saw him, I had 5 left. I'm like, screw it. And I rattled, and he tore some trees out on the way in and shot him in 3. There's 1 or 2 left. The only one that I had that took a while was me and you, one of the blinds. Those deer came from across the field. I mean, but that took them however long to just walk there.
Yeah, but that still wasn't very long because you remember we were sitting there going, where are they?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they were one head, 2 heads, 3 heads. Yeah,
everyone showed up.
Yeah, so that was a lot. And then
yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday, Warren texted me. You guys were already set. We were brushing that blind in. And I texted him as I was walking over and said, we're walking in now.
Yeah.
And we got over there and sat down, and I told Nick, I was like, I took all my sweatshirts off and stuff like that because I didn't want to get all sweaty. And so so I put one on first. I was trying to take my time, cool off, and so I don't have my release on or anything. And I see Warren says something like, we got 20 deer in the beans now. Have you guys seen anything? This is like 10 minutes after I just told him we're just walking in. But I took the time to answer. I was just getting ready to answer him when I look up, and I'm like,
oh, there's a couple.
Deer, no, just one. But it's on the edge of the trees, right beside, in the same trees we're in. And I'm like, Nick, there's a deer in that trail. He knew what I was talking about because that's kind of what we set up, that they could come out this trail. I said, there's a deer at the trail. And then I look left, bloop, ears,
yep.
Bloop, ears. And they're in the middle of the field. I'm like, okay, Nick, we got more coming from our left. And then before we knew it, there was 15 of them.
Yeah.
It just was.
It happens quick.
Yeah. So, yeah, it can happen in a blink of an eye. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. You put all this time in for this little tiny, it happens now.
And it's still worth it.
Oh, 100%. And you'll do it again next year because of that 30 seconds.
Yep.
Hold on. Because did we talk about his deer?
Who's?
Nick's.
I don't think so.
Did we mention that before?
I haven't talked about it.
I think we should. Now that we have confirmation.
You want to air Nick out? Let's do it. I'm in. Yeah.
Eric Robards will love it.
No, Jeremy will.
Jeremy Rupsick, yeah. No, so we let Nick, for a while, I had Nick packing his bow and I was packing mine because we had some deer that we would like to have shot that are not good genetic deer, but they're decent deer. And we only have X amount of tags. So Nick was packing his bow and I'm packing mine. We are sitting in a stand one morning. We see a buck comes underneath 5 yards. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, man, that looks like a deer but I don't know for sure. So I tell Nick, you can't shoot that one. He's like, okay. We come to work after that morning we got out, and then we all looked at the video and you're like, well, that's the one we found the shed to. I'm like, gosh, dang it, that was him. I said, all right, Nick, we're going to go to this other spot. Bring your bow because there's a good chance we'll see him over there. We hadn't been in the stand 2 minutes. We wouldn't even have a camera ready or anything, and here he comes. Well, we don't get a shot at him. So now Nick's over there pouting like a little schoolgirl, like, ooh, he was right here. And I'm like, it's okay. This is like 2:30, and before the time, that was after the time change, but we still had like 3 hours left. Lots of time. Sure enough, more does show up. Another little buck shows up. All of a sudden, he comes blowing out of there, chasing does around, runs over. I tell Nick, hand me the camera. You're shooting. And deer comes over, and he's standing there. Nick does everything right. Takes his time. The buck is broadside. What was he, 17 yards is what you said? I'm on him. Nick that was our dog.
That was Dan. I thought you farted.
Our dog's dreaming. Nick shoots, but shoots low. And we were like, I did everything I could possibly think of. Nick did, Easton and I did, Warren and I did, Easton and Warren, we're all trying to figure out is this deer going to die? And so we did what we needed to do. We went back and we followed blood, and we followed blood. Me and Nick did for, I think I said, about 700 yards from where you shot. We followed it about 300 to where you and the three of us left it that night, then went back the next day, picked up blood and followed it for another 300 and some yards. And could not find this deer. And it was just a drip. You could tell it was dripping. It wasn't clotting, but it also was not pouring out,
yeah.
And so anyhow, long story short, we finally had to back out. We lost blood in a big grass field. And so anyhow, I was like, okay, Nick, so I did contact the neighbors and I said, hey, if you guys see this buck, we had trail camera photos of him and everything. And said, if you see this buck, I know who shot it in case he's dead. So 2 weeks go by, or 12 days, 13, 14 days. Nick's like, you seen him? I'm like, nope, I haven't got any pictures of him. So we're kind of chalking it up. We think maybe he's in this creek bottom near where we were. And then lo and behold, 2 days ago, I'm sitting in a blind, and out he walks. And now I want to kill him bad. I want Nick to shoot him, someone to shoot him, because I want to know what's going on, because he's not even hardly limping. I mean, and this went in his left shoulder, and I believe that there might be an arrow lodged in there. But after seeing him the other day, I'm thinking that there's not.
So you got your arrow back.
Oh, you got back half. It broke.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, because, I mean, when you see him, you would not know that deer is hurt from the video. And, I mean, you wouldn't know he had been shot before.
Yeah.
But because I knew that he had been, he's got a little bit of a limp to him. You know, but, I mean, when we say that we're positive that it's the same deer, I'm talking 100%. He's got a double throat patch. He's got a little kicker on his G2.
Yep.
Everything is identical, and we got great video to back it up. So he's out there, and he's still alive. You know, I like I said, I want to shoot him to know. I would, even though I can tell you what I did believe is why that he went under everything.
Yeah,
anything
he
vital.
had to have.
Yeah,
there's no way you could have hit higher. Yeah.
Yep. So. And that's going to lead us to another, it's not an invention, but it might be a project that we work on. I really think that we could help some
shot
people.
Placements.
Yep.
I agree.
Because that was the only thing that truly was the only thing that Nick did wrong. He
hit where
where he said, I hit right where I was aiming. And I was like, yeah, you just aimed in the wrong spot. And I think that happens a lot. That's not a Nick problem. That's a whole bunch of people's problem.
Oh, after I had my shoulder issues a year or two or whatever, on hitting him in the shoulder, that's in my head. I'm having to work through getting it out of my head to shoot him back where I normally do because I've been shooting him lower, and I do not like it at all, and further back. So,
to me, it's got to be a visualization of the other side.
Oh, I have that visualization, but mine's because I got wrecked on it twice in a row that I'm like, it's really hard for me to get my confidence back to where I used to be like, I know that's it. And, yeah. That'll just come I think I'm going to start smoking does again, and then once I get a bow, my bow's jacked up, but once I get a bow figured out, I'm going to smoke some does.
But you have a huge advantage. You're shooting 15 pounds more pull than I am. Your draw length is an inch more than mine. And you worry more about the shoulder than anyone I know, and
because of two issues I know,
had. But you hit them like you hit that little spot. You can shoot the flat part of the shoulder, and it's okay. You just can't hit that knuckle.
I didn't hit the knuckle on either. That's the issue.
Oh, I believe on heavy.
No, sir. I did not hit that. I was not far enough forward on that knuckle. Granted, that one, the broadhead bent.
Yes.
Which is a problem. That is a major problem.
The ferrule of the broadhead.
Yes. The other one that makes zero sense is a freaking antelope. Half the body weight. Doesn't have that much bone structure to him. And I got 8 inches of penetration. And
was that the same broadhead?
No, that was a 3-blade. That was real close to the flat part of the shoulder, which made no sense. How it did not do anything more than that. But those two are back to back. That's why it's been like, yeah. I don't want to deal with it, but
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's also a reason why I say, guys saying that they blow through both shoulders really, really easily. Not so much.
Depends on where you hit in that shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, maybe on the flattest barely part where.
Yeah, the flat part of the shoulder, that in any 70-pound bow is going through.
Yeah, well, you're also not doing that out of an angled tree stand.
Right. I hear you. All right, well, I think we probably have created more questions than, not necessarily. Hopefully we're helping someone out there that's still going through, because the other thing is that mental battle. Just don't give up, man. I mean, I keep telling myself the biggest thing is I can live with the fact that I don't kill one, but I can't live with the fact what I would regret if I quit.
Yeah.
Because I can't change that. And if at the end of the day you go hang your bow up that last night in your room or wherever it is, if you left it all on the table or you left it all out in the field, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
On your part.
Yeah, I think you've definitely instilled that in us because it doesn't feel right to quit. If your wife or your girlfriend's mad at you right now or whatever because you've been hunting too much, I mean, you probably only have a few days left. She's probably going to get that. I mean, she might get more mad, but, I mean, I think you can fend it off at this point. Might as well finish it out.
Well, when you've been married for 35 years, they get angry, And then now mine leaves monkey butt sitting around the house. And she said, and I'm like, what's this? And she said, well, you're getting your ass kicked every day. So here you go. This is for your chapped ass.
That's great.
So no, mom is good. Mom is consoling. Mom feels, I mean, I hear her as much as she's like, okay, you need to be done. She also is like, but not yet. You know, you got a few days left here. Don't, and because she knows she's been one that's gone to the wire a bunch of times too.
Mm-hmm.
Because now she has weird stuff happen that like
she has a lot of weird stuff happen.
Yeah, when it comes to hunting, she's had some like really incredible things that it's like you couldn't have picked that. But
well, you guys better get going.
Yep. All right. Well, we're going to get done here because we're going to go climb back in a blind. So, guys, thanks for listening. We appreciate you. We will probably, next time you guys hear from us, we'll have all three of us back. I think Warren will be back, and we will be ready to rock and roll. Don't forget, Christmas is coming, and, I mean, we're in December now. So when we say that, so there's still scents, but there's lots of apparel and things like that. There's also we have so many things on our website, I can't keep track of it anymore, and I don't know what the sales are and things like that. So
we just got done with our Black Friday sales.
Right. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining the Raised Hunting Podcast. We appreciate you. And even if we don't get one this year, we ain't done. So we'll see you guys next week.